Crossed in one, he rises! They've done it!
Hello, your friend in sports here, and today we'll dive into the top 7 fundamentals to defending in Efootball Mobile 2025. And I've put this in order, so stick around till the end if you want to master your defense and achieve the guaranteed under 2.5 goals conceded per match. Let's dive right in. Coming in at number 7 is ball safety. This is the foundation to good defending. Keeping the ball in safe areas and minimizing costly mistakes is very essential if you want to become a good defender. And a lot of people do concede from losing the ball in key areas of the pitch, either with their centre backs, defending midfielders, or even in isolated situations.
And Mendes, Kimmich,
Like you can see here, I misplaced a pass with Virgil van Dijk and I concede a very cheap goal. So avoid mistakes around your goal. Instead, be simple, clear the ball and resume play from there. So you have to avoid too risky passes near your goal. Instead, use simple passes to reset play or switch flanks and avoid any trouble around your goal. And a very important tip that you guys should do is that when under pressure, clear the ball strategically by just clicking the clear button to reduce danger rather than panicking or being too comfortable around your goal and losing possession.
doesn't back it up, but
So ball safety buys your defense the time to reorganize and stay solid. And you realize that if you follow this defending technique, then you're not gonna give to your opponent the easy and cheap goals. Next up at number 6 is defending as a unit. This could have been at number 3 or maybe number 2, but up there is so much competition, but it's equally very essential in Efootball Mobile 2025. So defending isn't about individual brilliance, it's about team coordination, having every available player to help in defense as much as possible. And this is achievable with consistently switching the right players and dragging them into defensive positions using matchup or dash button. You can also use the second defender press wisely to force your opponent into the tight spaces while maintaining your team's shape. It's super effective.
an engrossing half, but we're still.
So a well-organized defense, just like you can see Liverpool at the moment and Arne Slot, almost everybody is involved in defending and they don't concede as many goals.
Yes, 0-0 and little promise.
Rest assured, I have a comprehensive Defending Masterclass series that covers these fundamentals deeply and very comprehensively. So if you want to understand these fundamentals better, then head over to the Defending Masterclass series. The link is in the description and get better at defending.
And he's had it nicked away.
At number 5, we have tracking runs. This is another critical skill for dealing with through balls and also against opponents that fancy long balls in behind. So what you have to do is that you must always be aware of your opponent players making off the ball runs into dangerous areas, and you have to respond to these movements by perfect manual switching to your player closest to the opponent's attacker and track the run.
And it's fantastic.
Good tracking will frustrate your opponent and limit their chances, forcing them to change their approach, which is automatically a win for you. So this technique is a must know if you are to improve in defending in Efootball Mobile 2025.
Nuno Mendes. And back to the.
Coming in at number 4 is, of course, cutting passing lanes. This is a very popular defending technique and is heavily adopted across the gaming community by many players. And this could have been at number 2 or maybe number 1, but there is so much competition up there but it's equally very essential and a must know if you are to become a good defender. And it's all about reading the game and positioning your players to intercept passes. This is an anticipatory style of defending where you get into the mind of your opponent in trying to predict where or who he will pass to next, and then sitting in between these lanes and cutting these passes. And again, this is made possible by good player switching. I think this is very important. Good player switching and matchup. Don't chase the ball aimlessly. Instead, predict where the pass will go and position your players accordingly to intercept these passes. You just need to use the matchup button to jockey near the passing lanes and force your opponent into making mistakes.
Of the half coming at
So catching passing lanes will, in almost every situation, disrupt your opponent build a play and win you games. So it is a must know if you want to become a good defender in Efootball Mobile 2025.
and we are
At number 3, we have controlled pressing. Getting these wrong is the number one reason why most people concede a lot of goals in Efootball Mobile 2025. So what I have to say is that you can't afford to be too aggressive, and neither can you afford to be too passive. So you have to put pressure on your opponent, but you also have to know when and when not to put pressure, and who not to pressure with. So aggressive pressing, constantly using the dash and pressure button, can leave gaps in your defense, especially if you are on auto switching. But controlled pressing ensures your defense stays intact as you control when and when not to press, and who and who not to press with, and where to press. I think that's very important.
areas of possibility.
So you don't just press with anyone the cursor changes to. For example, you can't afford to pull your center backs out of position, because that will automatically leave gaps in behind, especially when you miss the tackle. So you have to press tactically in Efootball Mobile 2025 and wait for the right moment to go for the ball, and also know the areas and players who you can comfortably press with. Not just everyone. And again, matchup and good player switching is very essential if you want to perfect controlled pressing. And like I said, there is a very comprehensive Defending Masterclass Series that covers these fundamentals deeply. And so if you feel that this is too shallow, then head over. The link is in the description. Check out the Defending Masterclass Series and get better at defense.
As we'd love to see this first half compared with your expectation.
Well, they've never really been threatened in the first half. I think it's been a
And in the run-up spot, you guessed it right, is of course the great matchup. You've had me mention it a lot of times in the previous sections, and now it's time for this great feature, the game changer in Efootball Mobile 2025.
They all do at this ground.
This feature is your best friend for precise 1v1 defending, for cutting passing lanes, and even for blocking shots and maintaining your team's shape. So it's very essential, because it lets your defender to automatically align with the attacker's movement to contain dribbles and block shots. This technique is very essential. That's why it's also very popular and sometimes referred to as jockey in PlayStation games like the FC.
Sorry. Nuno Mendes. Big game, it looks like a big game.
And so if you are not already using matchup, then you should start learning it now, because it's so simple. You just have to hold the matchup button and move your player with the left direction of stick and position him to match your opponent's movement.
Oh, good read.
So a little tip is that matchup itself is slow, and so when you're trying to catch up with an opponent, you have to use the dash and pressure button to close down on your opponent, and immediately you are in close range, hold the matchup button to activate matchup and contain your opponent and wait to time a tackle. So this way, when you combine these two buttons, then it's gonna be very effective and super powerful.
In similar fashion, as we'd love to see this momentum maintained, so I'm looking forward to what's to come.
Finally, at number 1, the ultimate fundamental, manual switching. And this is the queen in defending, and it's what separates good defenders from great ones. It's very popular among pros across platform because it's super effective and very important if you want to become a good defender. So most pros use this technique because solely relying on auto switching can leave you exposed most of the times because you lack control of who you are switching to. Instead, learn using manual switching to take control of the right player, and I think this is very important to underline. You take control of the right player at the right time.
Football, you get hounded by everyone.
Now you're gonna have trouble learning it initially, especially if you have been used to automatic switching, but it is worth learning and adopting because it's super powerful and very effective. Now to perform manual switching, you only need to tap the switch button to switch to the closest player to the ball, or swipe the switch button in any direction to select a specific player that is in a better situation or is in a better position to deal with the opponent. It's that simple.
Early goal, 1-0 the score. Oh, good read. Martinez.
And like I said, there is an ultimate Defending Masterclass series that covers these fundamentals very deeply, and so if you want to dive deep into each of these fundamentals, then check the link in the description and become better in defending in Efootball Mobile 2025.
Van Dijk.
So that's it for the top 7 fundamentals to defending, and hopefully they're gonna transform your defending game in Efootball Mobile 2025. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel and to stay tuned because very soon another comprehensive tutorial on formation and tactics for every playstyle is coming. So don't miss out and see you soon. Adios.